Right now, the United States owes over $37 trillion. That's more than the value of almost every company on the planet, combined. And every second it's growing. So what if the US decided to pay it all off? Would the economy heal? Would taxes drop? Would America become stronger? Or could fixing the debt break everything else? Let's find out what would really happen. First, what is national debt? When a government spends more than it earns, it borrows. It issues bonds to investors, countries, banks, and even its own citizens. Each year it does this, the total adds up. That total is the national debt. And right now, it's equal to 122% of the entire US economy. This didn't happen overnight. Back in the 1980s, tax cuts and Cold War spending began widening the gap. In the 2000s, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan added trillions. The 2008 financial crisis made things worse. Then COVID hit, and the government spent $6 trillion more to stabilize the economy. But even during good years, the US kept borrowing. That's the first problem. But the second, interest. In 2024, the US paid nearly $870 billion just on interest. That's more than the budgets of Medicaid, education, and housing combined. And by 2034, interest payments could hit $1.7 trillion a year, more than the entire defense budget. So, why not just pay it off? Well, that's where things get complicated. Yes, the US government earns money, about $5 trillion a year from taxes, but it spends over $6.5 trillion. That's a deficit of about $1.5 trillion every year. To pay off the debt, the government would need to reverse that completely. It could raise taxes. But higher taxes slow down the economy and hurt workers and businesses, especially in a country where the top tax rate has fallen from 91% in the 1950s to just 37% today. Or it could cut spending. But where over 70% of the budget is mandatory, things like Social Security, Medicare, and interest payments. Cutting these would affect tens of millions of Americans. So what's left? Defense, education, infrastructure, the things people still expect to work. That's the challenge. But let's imagine for a moment, the debt is gone, trillions saved in interest, a stronger dollar, more trust in the US economy. Sounds like a dream. But removing all that debt would also remove all the US Treasury bonds from global finance, and that's a big deal. Today, US debt is the backbone of the world economy. It's considered the safest investment on Earth. Pension funds rely on it. Banks use it as collateral. Even foreign governments hold trillions in US bonds. Take that away, you shake the entire system. Suddenly, there's nowhere safe to store value. Markets panic. Credit tightens, the economy slows down, even crashes. Because debt, for better or worse, is what keeps the engine running. And here's another twist. Some economists argue that debt isn't the real problem. They say the issue isn't how much the government owes, it's whether it can pay the interest and keep investors confident. So is paying it off even the right goal? Maybe not. Because in the real world, economics isn't black and white. It's a set of trade-offs. Paying off debt sounds noble, but done the wrong way, it could trigger unemployment, deflation, and even social unrest. So what's the right move? It's not about zeroing the debt. It's about controlling the growth, keeping debt stable, keeping interest low, and investing in things that create real long-term value, like education, clean energy, and infrastructure. Debt is a tool. Used right, it builds nations. Used wrong, it buries them.